Good morning. Back to you with the GMC Yukon 2013. And when we fired this up yesterday, and the problem he had when he drove it in, he had no Pringle. So I turned the ignition on in here. We have no Pringle here. Nothing when you shift the gears. What we have found, and if you hook up the scan tool, you got no communication with the TCM. And guess where the TCM lives in here? It lives in the transmission. So the TCM in here, the data communication goes from the body control module through the TCM and then to the PCM. So that's all intact. What we have found is that fuse 19 here, no, it's fuse 14. Fuse 14 hot all the times. Out of the battery box, this wire is hot, but down at the transmission on pin 4, it's dead. So this wire is broke somewhere. And I looked over the harness, and it looks like behind the engine, there's stuff touching the harness, and there's no way to access it. And this truck has had a Jasper transmission put in just recently. So I think our best bet, if we had to pull the engine out to even get to the harness or the transmission, I think our best bet is we're going to do an overlay, and we're going to cut this wire at the fuse box, solder a new wire on, and run a new wire back and solder it on here at the connector. And we're going to see if that reestablishes our communication. What a pain in the butt. And I don't see any rodent damage. When I stuck the cameras in there and stuff, but I do see the wiring harnesses touching like AC lines and stuff, and you can't get your hands in there to really get after it. And even if you could, there's no way to get in there to fix it. So our best bet here is to hope and pray. It's like right here. That's coming out. That's from that fuse out of the box, goes through the harness here, runs down the back of the engine, straight down the back and on top of the transmission, and you can't even get a hand in there to get after it. So we're going to do a wire overlay, and hopefully it fixes this problem. I can do the wire overlay good enough, and hopefully none of the other wires are touching or rubbed through. If they are, he'll start having communication problems, but hopefully it's just the one wire. We're nearing the end of this. We're going to do some soldering here. Solder this wire around right at the body control module. Not the body control module, at the fuse box under the hood here. And we're using the TS101 soldering iron here. Looks pretty slick. Alright, screw solder, little tin on this baby. I think we got her. Bada bing, bada boom. That's together. Pull the heat shrink over it. Torch. Start the brake reservoir on fire. Hope there's nothing else wrong with this. The guy wants to work on air conditioning. He thinks the lines going to the back are bad. I don't know. Looking at where the wiring is running behind the motor and those lines, I'd almost wonder when they did the transmission if they damaged the Freon lines. Refrigerant. Bada bing, bada boom. Fixed will be fixed. I'll bring you back when I fire it up. Alright, this is the final outcome. Here's the new wire. I put it in the flex here. More than heavy duty. It's heavier duty than what was in there. I ran it along the wiring harness here, and I'll show you how I ran it. I've ran it. Right there, all the way along. It's running along. It's coming across here. It's going over the top of the transmission. It's going right there, and it's back into the harness. Here we go. We got a Pringle. We got a Pringle. Look at it. We got the little line. We're back online. Everybody's happy.